Welcome to episode 16. Today we have an incredible business mind with us, Mike Michalowicz. Now, by his 35th birthday, you guys, Mike had founded and sold 2 multi-million-dollar companies. Confident that he had found the formula for success, he became an angel investor and then proceeded to lose everything. He started over again, driven to find better ways to grow a healthy, strong company. And among that, to also identify innovative strategies, Mike had created the Profit First formula, a way for businesses to ensue profitability from their very next deposit forward. Mike is now running his third $1 million venture, so he's definitely got a lot of experience when it comes to the business world. He is the author of Profit First, Surge, The Pumpkin Plan, and The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. Today, he gets to talk with us about his journey, his lessons learned, and how easily you can implement his Profit First formula into your business. This is Unleash Your Inner Legend, a podcast featuring modern-day legends sharing their life choices, habits, and routines that got them to where they are today. Get ready to be inspired and to take massive action to unleash your inner legend. Hey, Mike, what is going on?
What's up, Hollie? Thanks for having me on your show.
Oh my gosh, I'm super excited that you're here. And I was introduced to your, I guess you could say business model or business principle, like I would say about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
It's a game changer and I can't wait to share it with everyone else. So I'm super stoked that you're here on the show.
And I love hearing that you've been doing it for so long. And I'm happy that's serving you. That lights me up. That's what I think my purpose on this planet is to help people. So I just love that. Love that.
That's so awesome. Well, and I love how much you love to share too. So this is going to be a good one.
It's a love fest, quite frankly. Yeah.
Cool. So before we dive into that Profit First model and how listeners can implement it, let's kind of talk about you and your journey.
So entrepreneur my entire life.
Yep.
Actually, in fact, right after college, I thought I'd work for some big company doing something. Couldn't get a job. So started my own business. I've had the good fortune of building and selling 2 companies. One was a private equity transaction. Another one I sold to a Fortune 500. I think, though, the interesting part of my story was not that. It was the fact that those businesses were never profitable when I was running them. When I sold them is when I made my money. And so my third venture, I said, I need to build more companies faster. I became an angel investor. I was horrible at it. I actually call myself the angel of death now. I was so bad at it. And I ended up losing all my money. I lost my possessions, my home, my car, everything about my family. And it became a very devastating part of my life. But also that trauma, I guess, triggered a new perspective for me that I don't understand how to manage money in the traditional accounting sense. And actually, most entrepreneurs don't. And there's a lot of aspects I didn't understand about entrepreneurship that I thought I did. And I decided that I'm going to fix this stuff for myself and then hopefully for other people. And I declared myself as an author. And that was now 11 years ago. And I've been writing Profit First and other books specifically to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty.
So you have this college degree, and a lot of people like yourself, when they have a college degree, you're like, okay, now I'm going to go into the corporate world. What got you into entrepreneurship, though?
So it was a little bit of a drunken stupor, to be honest. This is not a business tip. Like, do not get wasted to start a business. But I was so out of college, I couldn't get a corporate traditional job. I did get a temporary job, effectively working for a computer store, selling a printer or whatever to get my $5 commission. And when one night I went out with another guy that worked there and we started lamenting the owner. Like, he sits in the back room smoking cigars and counting money. And it's all our sweat and effort that drives this business forward. And I'm like, I'm going to start my own business. Now I had quite a few cool ones in me, cold ones. And by the 5th one, I'm like, I'm so much smarter than this guy. I'm going to start my own effing business, man. and my friend there challenged me. He's like, well, then do it, man. So I left a drunken, slurry message for the boss saying, I quit. I'm starting a competing business, And next morning when I had some sobriety around me, I called the guy back. I'm like, I was wasted. That was a total mistake. And he's like, F you, you're on your own. And so I started a business with no idea of what it took to be an entrepreneur. It's not just selling printers. It was all these different elements. He's not in the back room counting money. He's stressing over vendors and building relationships. And I had no comprehension. But I will tell you, if I didn't have that night and that moment, I would have never started a business.
Yeah.
the first few years, and I think many entrepreneurs listening in can relate to this, it is fear-driven. And fear is a wonderful asset, I believe, in the beginning, because I was getting up at 4 in the morning and I was working till 4 the next morning just to get $1 in. And over time, fear becomes stress. It's not sustainable. But the first few years, that's what fueled me. And I started to become a much better definition of the entrepreneur, not the person that's hustling and grinding all the time, but the person who's looking to organize the people and resources around me and start to build efficiencies, systems, and a business ultimately that would run itself.
So, when you started out, obviously you burned the boats and you have no fallback, no 9 to job, 9 to 5, no job. What was your bad habits that looking back, hindsight, you're like, oh my gosh, I could have totally turned that around? What are some of the bad habits that you as an entrepreneur and that you also see as a commonality with all the entrepreneurs that do once they start getting into business?
Well, a good question. The first thing that comes to mind immediately is the concept that I can serve everybody and I should serve everyone. Mm-hmm. So my first company was a computer business because that's the only thing I knew. And what I said is I'll serve any small or medium-sized business, which meant small business, but I didn't even understand that. I said any kind of business that needs computers, I can do it. But what I discovered now in hindsight is that makes me very generic. Just picking random things, a company that manufactures, tennis shoes versus a pizza shop versus a law firm, they have very different specific needs. And because I was trying to serve all of them, I was never able to become masterful at what they needed, understanding the software they need, understanding the technology complements them. So I was a generalist. And when you're a generalist, you experience downward price pressure, meaning the person that's hiring you says, oh, you're a computer guy, but all computer guys are the same. And therefore, are you cheaper than the alternative? So I was constantly battling against price, and I was trying to increase it, but I couldn't, and I was afraid of losing customers and so forth. I realized, and I changed my business, once I picked a category to serve, a niche, and really understood that market better than any of my competition, it was no longer price competition. I'd walk in the door and say, the niche I picked was hedge funds. I understand hedge funds better than anyone else that's going to walk in this door. I know the exact technology you need. I know the problems you're going to experience before you even experience them. By the way, I charge 5 times the regular guy, but you're getting a heart surgeon in here as opposed to a general practitioner, someone that can save your business's life effectively. Mm-hmm. And the customers say, great, that's what I needed. Yeah. There is a faction in every community that you serve, there's a faction of customers that value mastery skills over cost. And if we cater to them, our business will grow explosively. Shamefully, I didn't know that. And that was probably the biggest roadblock in my way for success of my business. But once I understood that and started catering to that, every business I've started on that premise has always grown faster than the alternative way.
Absolutely. So it's getting through and it's understanding your buyer persona, or I know a lot of people in the digital marketing world, they refer to it as avatar. So you should be knowing where these people are where are they going to be on Google? Are they going to be on Facebook? Are they going to be on Pinterest, Instagram? Because if you're selling to somebody who's like a 60-year-old, 65-year-old grandmother, she's probably not going to be on Instagram, but she will probably be on Facebook connecting with her family and friends. So it's like, absolutely. How many times do entrepreneurs waste, time, energy, effort, and money? I mean, starting a business, a lot of people starting a business, I guess I should say, don't have a lot of equity just to throw it out there to see if it sticks.
No, right? We have a few credit cards and a lot of panic. Yeah. Maybe an uncle that's rich and just throws us a few bones. What you were talking about, I call them congregation points.
Got it.
Every community congregates. Mm-hmm. There's a saying, birds of a feather flock together. And it's absolutely true. People like people who are like them. Wow. And so you go to the local pool club, you'll find there's these cliques, right? These niches of people that congregate together. But the same is on Pinterest and the same is on all these different digital platforms. Mm-hmm. Until you know what community you're serving, you can't find the platforms. So step one is identify the community you're serving. And a shortcut to this, if you have existing customers, look at the customers who pay you the best. They're demonstrating through their actions they value you. And it's got to be the intersection of they pay you the best and you love working with them. Because that means you naturally can cater to them. Sometimes you have a customer that pays you well, but they suck. They're a bunch of jerks. Those are not customers you want to replicate. Other times you have customers you love, but they don't pay you any money. In fact, they say, I can't afford you. I'm sorry, but I love you. Mm-hmm. That's no good either. It's the intersection of these two. They pay you well and you love them. Then you define the avatar with absolute clarity, to your point. Once you know an avatar, we have to find out where they're congregating. And the simple rule is this: appear where they congregate. Advertise there, or if it's the pool club, drive over to the pool club. And the funny thing is, you don't need to be an extraordinary salesperson. You don't have to have slick ads or anything. Just be present and just educate. Because when a community sees you repeatedly over and over again, that is the best marketing mechanism. Like, oh, Hollie, I see you everywhere. You're everywhere. Mm-hmm. When people think you're everywhere and see you everywhere, the know, like, trust starts winning them over. They know you, they like you because they see you all the time, and they start trusting you. And that's the essence of effective sales.
Absolutely. So you guys listening, make sure you have a clear definition of your avatar, your buyer persona, so that you guys aren't wasting your marketing dollars or your time or money down chasing people that are never going to buy for you or may not even afford for you in the first place, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, by the way, is the worst client. I have a ranking of clients. The best client we just talked about, they pay you well, you love them. Mm-hmm. The next one we think down the rack is the one that we can't stand, they don't pay us well. But they are, in fact, there's someone in between that. In the middle is a no-paying client or non-existing client. So we have a client that we love, then we have these non-existing clients, and then we have these bad clients. A non-existing client is actually better than a bad client because a bad client takes your time and effort and they don't pay you well. So a lot of customers, a lot of businesses I work with have this reversed. They say the best client is one I love. The second kind of middle client is one that sucks. And the worst client is no client whatsoever because I have no money. It's not true. No client is far better because you're not losing money and you're not taking up that emotional space where you can't sleep at night because you're pissed off about that bad customer. It's better to fire the crap customers and be in the no customer position than it is to retain bad customers and have no availability for great customers.
And those people who can't afford your services, that doesn't mean that they can't be your raving fan and they can't tell their family and friends who could afford your services, that could be those amazing clients that can afford you and you love them.
You can make them your marketing force for sure.
For sure. So let's talk about your profit first model and then really how that whole thing was born. Because I know you didn't wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm going to write a book and it's going to sell.
I did wake up one day and say, I'm going to write a book and make it sell, and I never did.
Yeah.
But I did wake up one day and had an epiphany. So I was sharing my story. I built these companies. I became a self-made millionaire in my early 30s. And I thought I was hot shit. I was full of arrogance and ignorance, quite frankly, which I found the Webster definition of arrogance and ignorance combined. It's called being a dick, by the way. I became this big dick. I was like, oh my God, I'm so great. I thought I was better than other people, which is a horrible, horrible part of my life. But I actually believe that. Mm-hmm. And I'm now so grateful that I lost everything because it reset my mind.
Yeah.
I realized during losing everything that I didn't understand the fundamentals of profit. And I wondered what was wrong with me. I then heard a study of the countless entrepreneurs. There's 180 million small business entrepreneurs globally. 83% of us are surviving check by check. The vast majority of entrepreneurs, that means a lot of people watching right now are barely making enough money today to pay the bills this month. So it's hand to mouth survival. And I'm like, something's not right here. We're able to start businesses. We have the drive to do that. We attract customers and prospects. We serve them. We do all these things. We do hundreds of thousands of different things for the business right. But the one thing we can't get right is profit. What's wrong with us? And that became the epiphany. There's nothing wrong with us. The formula that we've been told, the fundamental formula to profit is flawed. We're told sales minus expenses equals profit, which means profit comes last. In fact, our vernacular is it's the bottom line or it's the year end. It is human nature. When something comes last, it means it's insignificant. I would never say my health comes last. My family, which I love, comes last. Those all say they can wait. They're insignificant. Profit, we've been told, comes last. And what it does is it waits. We wait till the end of the year, ask our accountant, any profit this year? And she's like, sorry, nothing. We're like, oh, shucks, maybe next year. I will still, be in the survival trap another year, but I'll try to claw my way out. So what I did in Profit First, it's real simple, but the change is wildly impactful. Is flip the formula. It's now sales minus profit equals expenses. And what I mean in practice is every time a sale comes into your organization, every time there's a deposit, you take a predetermined percentage of that money, allocate it toward a profit account, hide it from your business, and run your business off the remainder. It's the pay yourself first principle applied to business. And this is the fundamental process, if you will, for Profit First. The book, I explain the entire process. There's a lot more to it. Yeah. But fundamentally, if you take your profit first, you're ensuring your profit and your business is telling you what's truly available to operate your business.
That's such a taboo thing in business too, because people are like, wait, pay yourself first. No, that's greedy. We got to put the money back into the company.
Oh God, it drives me nuts. Plow back, push back, return the money. We got to grow. So a couple of things. when someone said, I was doing a conference just last week, big audience, about 1,000 people. And at the end of the conference, this one entrepreneur comes up to me and she says, hey, I loved the Profit First presentation you just did. But I got to tell you, I had a 22% profit last year. I'm kind of nailing it. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I said, what'd you do with all that money? She's like, oh, we plowed it back in the business. And that's when like kind of the screech, I'm like, "Arr!" I'm like, hold on. You had a 22% profit, but you put it back in the business. I said, what did you do with the money then? She's like, well, we bought stuff. We spent it. I said, oh, so you had 22% of this money here and then you spent it all, right? She goes, exactly. I'm like, that's not a profit. That's called an expense. You're playing a shell game where you pretend it's a profit, but your business utilized all that money to service the business. That's an expense. It is a very clear delineation. Profit is money that's left over and available for profit distribution to the shareholders. It actually goes to the benefit of the shareholder for their own celebration. Expenses are any money spent by the business. So first we need to kind of bifurcate this. And that's the key, I think, thing people don't understand. The second thing is people think that you need profit to grow. Like I need to put it back in the business to grow more. We have over 150,000 businesses doing Profit First. By the end of this year, we're estimating over 200,000 companies will have implemented this. We have 3,000 documented case studies. And here's the deal. Businesses that take their Profit First consistently are outpacing their competitors in growth, which I know at first blush like makes no sense. But here's what we found. And it points back to something we already spoke about. When you take your profit first, you remove that money from the business. The money then has only a reduced amount available to operate, which means the business operator, the owner, we need to be more selective on our spend. We can only spend it on things that work and yield benefit. We can only cater to a very specific community because there's only so much money. We can't advertise to everybody. Mm-hmm. So we start to narrow down our focus, targeting community and targeting a product or service offering that services that community and not doing all these other things, which, by the way, is called forced niche specialization. And niche specialists inevitably grow faster because they build a reputation in their community. So by taking your profit first, not only are you profitable, you start getting very focused, you achieve mastery, you're niche specialized, and you actually grow faster.
Absolutely. So, when did the Profit First, the book came out? I mean, it didn't get released last year. It
came out in two versions. So the first version, I think, is 5 years old.
Yeah.
I re-released it. I have it strategically positioned over my shoulder right now. I re-released it, I think, 2 years ago. So the new version's only been out for 2 years, but the entire concept has been circulating for about 5 years through books. Yeah. I actually used to write for the Wall Street Journal, and about 8 years ago, I first wrote this concept. That became the inspirational moment. I've been doing Profit First for myself for almost 11 years, actually over 11 years. I've had 45 consecutive quarters of profit distributions for myself. Well, into this, about 3 years into, I'm like, wow, this works for me. I'm going to write an article for the Wall Street Journal. That article hit, and I started getting emails, calls, and I'm like, people like this. I'm going to make this into a book. It became a book, and then subsequently, I did a re-release on it. And it's. I'm humbled to say this. Starting to become a movement. There are so many different factions and industries that have taken this on. I hear about Profit First, not because I'm telling people about it, but they're coming back to me and saying, oh, our community's embraced this. We have someone inside our community that loves it so much, they become the advocate for it. And that it just lights me up. It lights my heart.
So the reason why I had asked first, about the book coming out, and you talked about how you updated it or did a revision a couple years ago. Now, obviously the principle remains the same, but will it ever change that you foresee within disruptions coming in within, whether it's digital marketing or whether it's advertising, or you have all these new revenues where people are finding themselves spending money? Are you ever going to see that changing, or is it going to have to evolve?
No. So the core principle has been consistent for 11 years now. It's never changed. And like I said, we have 150,000 plus businesses doing it. We work with, I can't imagine one industry we haven't had Profit First inserted into yet. It works for them all foundationally. Now, Profit First is set up to have a foundational principles, but then it gets modified on the outer edges. Yeah. If you're a digital agency, for example, you may have an ad spend. Well, Profit First doesn't talk about ad spends. Mm-hmm. And so what we have is a simple system is that when you have a special need, you set up a special account for it.
Yep.
We have a rule we say, if in doubt, add an account. So in Profit First, there's what we call the 5 foundational accounts. But many businesses, as they adopt the Profit First principle, start adding accounts, an ad spend account, or if you're a manufacturer, a raw materials purchasing account, or CapEx, capital expenditure account. So there's definitely modifications at the advanced level of Profit First that come into play. I think Profit First one day as a concept may go away. But I don't know if that's going to be 5 years from now or 50 years from now. What I realized is that is human nature, entrepreneurial nature, to not use accounting as much as what I call bank balance accounting. Most people don't look at their income statement or balance sheet or cash flow statement. They just log in their bank account. That's what I do and see if I have money or not. If I do, I spend it. If I don't, panic ensues, right? So profit first is based upon the core principle is that people don't change. Therefore, set up a system that captures our existing behavior and allows an existing behavior to drive the benefit you want. So profit first is based upon bank balance accounting. If you log into your bank account to see how much money you have, profit first will serve you. If you're masterful at accounting, profit first won't serve you. And what I believe is one day accounting systems will get so sophisticated that we will start using accounting because it's just a click and it's automatic. It'll be easier to do that than logging in the bank account. That's the day profit first and its current principles will probably go away. But I don't foresee that happening for at least 5 years and maybe it's another 50 years. So profit first in its core essence will probably stay around for a little while.
For sure. And what really attracted me to the profit first model, and I know a lot of other people, because as entrepreneurs, like we don't get in the business because we think numbers are sexy. Like it is like one of the most like boring things ever. Like it's a snooze fest. And I think, me being a creative, I like creating things. I like making things look good. I like making people feel good, things like this. So it's like doing all these things. And then it's like, oh, I have to worry about the numbers. But like profit first, for those who haven't read it, definitely pick up the book because it's literally a simple formula. Like you said, it was a basis of it. But it's like I had to literally kind of read it a couple of times to say, wait, is there more? Am I missing something? Because I'm normally like, I'm a high D personality. Like I don't want all the details. I don't want to listen to everything. Just tell me point blank what I need to do to get there. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah. So there's a definition for that propensity that you have not looking at the numbers and so forth. It's called being a human being. Like congratulations, Hollie, you're a human. And I want people to realize this. We try to force ourselves to do stuff. Entrepreneurs in general, some do love the numbers, but most of us, we love the creation of stuff, the serving. That's the stuff that lights us up. And the numbers are a necessary evil. So what we do with Profit First is get rid of worrying about the accounting numbers. We now just focus on the day-to-day management and make the management of cash actually fun and very simple. I mean, this is when you get Profit First moving, most people spend less than a minute a day on Profit First. They just log in account, see what's going on, and they're good. Yeah. And the beautiful thing is this does not replace accounting. It simply sits on top of it. Profit First is a cash management tool. The accounting behind the scenes continues on, but you don't even need to look at it. I would suggest when Profit First raises a red flag, you can't pay bills or something going on, then that triggers a call to your bookkeeper or accountant to discuss the accounting, but you just manage your day-to-day by Profit First. Then the accounting system can be used on a quarterly basis or a year-end to get into the details of minutia, but you don't need to look at that on a continual basis anymore.
Yeah, for sure. So, as far as Profit First goes, you had mentioned that you have had like thousands and thousands of companies implement this strategy. So you guys actually have specialists or experts that are niche within an industry so that people can take it, speak to there's a title for it, right? It's
yeah, thanks for mentioning that. We call it Profit First Professionals.
Professional, yeah.
So how it came about, thank you for mentioning it. How it came about was when I wrote the first manuscript, this is 5-6 years ago, before the book was published, I handed it out to some of my most fervent readers of The Pumpkin Plan, other books I've written. And I said, what do you think? And the first email came back, said, I like it or I love it. Who's the accountant that supports this? And I was like, what? Another email came in. Mike, who's the bookkeeper? A phone call came in. Hey, I want to hire a person that does this. That was the epiphany for me that when people read Profit First, many do just adopt on their own, and you can. It's that simple. But some want their accountant or bookkeeper to be versed in this to do some more of the sophisticated stuff around Profit First. So I was like, I need to start certifying people in Profit First. Fast forward to today, we have over 400 certified Profit First professionals that are currently active. We have a global presence. We have an office here. I'm actually at the office right now in New Jersey, but we also have an office in the Netherlands. Amersfoort is the city. We have an office in Melbourne, Australia. Yeah. And we certify specialists in Profit First that are accountants, bookkeepers, and business coaches, and they often take on a niche. So if you are an online marketer, or if you are an Amazon reseller, we have specialized for both those markets. If you are an auto mechanic, we have a specialist that services auto shops. So we have people that understand your business that can do the advanced stuff like we were talking about earlier, add special accounts, structure the right way, make sure you're getting the best value from your vendors and so forth.
Yeah, like I know everybody from like home stagers to real estate professionals that are hiring these. Yeah, that's very cool. Well, thank you so much for dropping all the knowledge that you dropped on today's episode. I really appreciate it. So you've got a lot going on. You have a lot of content avenues, if you will. You have your podcast, your multiple books, you do public speaking. What's the best way that listeners can go connect with you and consume your content?
Thank you for inviting me to share that. So the website is mikemichalowicz.com. Here's the dealio, Hollie. Now you're Hollio, dealio, Hollio. So Hollio, here's the dealio. Most people can't spell Michalowicz, including myself at times. So I made a shortcut. The nickname I had in high school was Mike Motorbike. The irony is I've never driven a motorcycle, but I need to learn how, I guess. But if you go to mikemotorbike.com, that will immediately bring you to my site. And what I have there for you is all my books. There's free chapter downloads for all of them, so you can experience that. I used to write for the Wall Street Journal. All those articles are free. I have other resources and tools. I'm a podcaster and a blogger. All that's at mikemotorbike.com for free.
Awesome. You guys go and check it out. And Mike, thank you so much. Again, I appreciate your time.
Oh, Hollie, this has been a joy. Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Unleash Your Inner Legend. For more inspiration, make sure to subscribe by going to unleashyourinnerlegend.com. We'll see you guys next week.